In this video, I'm going to be unboxing, reviewing and breaking down all of the contents in the brand new Yub Nub squad pack. So let's take a look. Hey guys, Rich from Rich Big Gaming. Hope everyone is doing fantastically well. Welcome to this another Star Wars Shatterpoint video. And I got my hands on these a week or so back now. I've got a shelf of 5 boxes, including this one, that need to be built and based and painted and everything else. So quite a lot of work to do, obviously on top of everything I'm doing with my old world army at the moment as well. But I wanted to take a look at this box. We've already looked at, I think, one of the characters previously, but we're going to take a look at all of the characters in here again, with the exception of Wicket, because we did break him down in a previous video. And yeah, so let's jump over to the other camera and let's see what's in this box. I've had a few people complaining about the models themselves, so we'll see if that's justified or if actually they're pretty easy to put together. So let's jump over and take a look. Okay guys, so here we go. We've got the Yub Nub squad pack from Atomic Mass Games for Star Wars Shatterpoint. So let's get this cellophane off here and let's see who we are going to get inside. So we're going to get 2 units of Ewok trappers. We're going to get Logray, he's going to be the primary in there, and then we're going to get R2-D2, and we're going to get Wicket. And I believe, if memory serves me right, this is a pack with 2 secondary characters that you can choose from, with Logray being the leader. So let's get this open, no tape on there, reasonably full box, so that's always good. He says, it's quite a full box actually, it's struggling to come out, there we go. Now one of the reasons it's such a full box is because of the amount of cards that we actually get in here. But let's leave the cards for a moment. Let's take a look at the plastic that comes in this pack. Let's see the bases and things. That's something I'm quite interested in taking a look at. Now I've been building and painting all of my old world miniatures at the moment, and it always does surprise me. So let's just take a quick look here at this Dreadlord I was painting recently. Not Dreadlord, sorry, this is one of the Corsairs. No, it's not, it's the Blackguard even. And going to 28mm from 40mm is quite a big change, but they are little Ewoks, so these guys are going to be quite small. It looks like for the most part they're in 2, maybe 3 parts. We've got the sort of base toppers there as well for the trappers. It looks like the 2 units of trappers are on there. We've then got an R2-D2. I'll maybe take a quick look at the R2-D2 and the C-3POs and do a side-by-side comparison, because I've got one from Imperial Assault as well. But yeah, I mean, they all look perfectly fine to me. Nothing wrong with them there. Still would like to see some different bases, but do we just get enough? I think we get one spare small base here, but just enough of the other bases. But let's take a look then at each of the characters' cards. As I say, we already did a breakdown of Wicket, so we don't need to go through him, but I did mention before that one of the reasons why there are so many cards is there's the 4 that I need, and then I need 4 of these. I need 1 of those, and then I need 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all of these are wasted cards. Absolutely wasted. Nothing to do with them there, so they can go in the bin basically. There's not much more to do with them. Let me know, guys, what are you doing with all your spare cards? What are you doing with all of your spare cards? Because yeah, you do get a lot of them in here. So let's start with Logray. Let's take a quick look at his card. So he is going to be, let's just double check, so he's going to bring 8 squad points, he's going to bring 3 force, he's low grade, the Bright Tree Shaman, and he's obviously the primary unit. We've got Inspiring Presence at the start of this unit's activation. Each allied Ewok gains a hunker and may remove 2 damage or 1 condition from itself. Then each allied Ewok scout may dash. So I'm assuming that these guys are Ewoks scouts. Okay, so that's what they are there. We've got Elder's Command. His first active ability costs 1 force. Choose an allied Ewok supporting character within 4. The chosen character may dash, then gain hunker, remove 1 condition from itself, or make a 5 dice attack. Pretty darn good. We've seen something similar, very, very similar actually, with Kalani in the core box. Very, very similar ability there. Stealthy Approach, again, it's going to cost the force. It's another active ability. Each character in this unit may dash, then this unit may gain the hunker or immediately make a focus action. That's pretty good. We do like that. Action economy is really nice, and these guys have a huge amount of it. Protective wards, while this unit is not wounded, while this unit is not wounded, characters in other allied Ewok units within 4 add 1 die to their defense roll. So it's not just cover, this is just going to be for absolutely everything, which is really, really nice, and it will indeed stack with cover. And then his leadership is Secret Ingredients. Each time an allied Ewok character wounds an enemy unit, roll an attack die. On a crit or wild result, refresh force. On a fail or expertise result, each character in the attacking unit may dash. That's pretty darn good. He's going to be a 9/2. So, you know, not the tankiest of characters, but still pretty good indeed. Let's take a look then at his order card, or his not his order card, his battle tree, or his combat tree, even his combat card. So he's 6'5", 7'6". His defensive wards are pretty nice. This is going to be Omen of Strength on this side. His melee expertise is very, very good indeed, but he's not dishing out a lot of damage on here at all. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as his max on this side. So yeah, I mean, he does bring some range, which, you know, some of the other units don't have. But yeah, it's okay. And then on this side, this looks like his is it slightly more offensive one? Again, his expertise is okay. He's losing defensive tech, but he's gaining range tech, which is typically how you see them. Again, maxing out at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7 if you get 5 expertise to go across, but unlikely to do so. So slightly less offensive potency. Shoves are really nice, especially early access to them. He's also got a reposition on there as well. No shoves on this side, but they do both have a free active ability. So he does have the ability to trigger that Elder's Command. So in combination, they do work quite nicely indeed. Let's take a quick look then at the Ewok Trappers. As I mentioned, we've already gone through Wicket in detail. So, Stealthy Approach, again, we've seen it once before. We've seen it on Logray's card. We've also seen it on Wicket's card as well. So, yeah, it looks like it's a pretty standard thing across the board for the Ewoks. We've got Battle Tactics, Primitive Artifice. When you create your starting order deck, you may include up to 1 Primitive Artifice Battle Tactics card. When you draw a Battle Tactics card, resolve the effects of that card, then draw another card and continue your turn as normal. So that's probably a good prompt to have a look at these Ewok traps to see what it is exactly that they do. So Ewok traps, it's going to be a primitive artifice. Battle tactic, choose an active objective and roll an attack die. On a crit, each enemy unit contesting the chosen objective gains pin, then push each enemy character that is contesting the objective range 2 away. Each pushed character suffers 2 damage. Now, I don't believe that Steadfast is going to stop that because it is not a shove, so that's interesting. And then on a hit, each enemy character that's contesting suffers 2 damage. On a expertise, you get the pin and the 2 damage, and then on a fail, you get the pin. So really, really nice. I think you discard this, I want to say. Let's have a quick look. When you draw resolve this cards, then draw another. Yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't say whether we discard this or not. So maybe we do, maybe we don't. We'll have to try and double check on that one. Camouflage at the end of setup. This unit may gain a hunker. Why would you not? Strength in numbers. When a character in this unit makes an attack as part of a combat action, for each other allied Ewok character engaged with a target that is not wounded, add 1 die to the attack roll. So pretty darn good. These guys have got 7/2, and they're going to cost 4 points. These are the slightly better of the two, or the slightly more expensive of the 2 Ewok units that we've got. We've then got running traps. So reasonable. What, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maxing out at 6 damage. 5/5, 6/4. Their spears are pretty darn good. You know, you want to get these guys up close and personal. Again, a couple of shoves on there. So 3 results is going to get you 2 shoves, which is nice. Got reposition. They've also got a pin in there as well. So yeah, overall, for 4 points, I feel like depending on what this does will really, really depend on how good they are and whether this is recycled or whether this is used up, because it doesn't say. Yeah, it doesn't say if it's a one-time use. If it's multiple use, I think it's going to be much, much better. But yeah, there we go. It's going to be these guys. And I think we may have already gone through C-3PO and R2-D2 in the past, but let's just take another quick look at them to familiarise ourselves. So they've got one, just to start off, they're going to be another secondary unit. So the other one is obviously Wicket in this box, but we did go through him before. So another option for secondary unit. I mean, realistically, he should probably be the leader. He's their god. They're going to be an 8/2. C-3PO and R2-D2, their droid and their Rebel Alliance. So brilliant operation is going to be their only active ability. Costs 1 force. Choose an allied Ewok supporting character within range 4. The chosen character may gain hunker, a double heal, or make a 5 dice attack. Pretty good indeed. Leans into the Ewoks, and you know, I gather you probably don't want to be taking these elsewhere, but we'll take a quick look. R2, I'm not sure that's such a good idea. With an allied Ewok unit or an allied Rebel Alliance unit begins its activation within range 5, this unit may use this ability. The activating unit may remove any number of conditions from itself, then suffers 1 for each condition it removed after the first. Okay, so interesting. So you get to remove 1 for free, but if you remove more than 1, you gain the damage for each one. Now, there are some situations where that's really good. There are others where it's less so. For example, strain, you know, you're essentially taking 66% of the damage off that it's doing there, which is quite nice. And especially if you've got ways on your actual combat tree to be able to remove them, which, do they have much healing on there? I think we did, yeah. So, you know, Logray has got some healing on that side, no healing on that side. So they've got ways to be able to get that off. Divine Influence. While this unit's active stance is against my programming, allied Ewok scout units within 4 have scale. While this unit's active stance is angry trilling, Ewok warrior units within 4 have steadfast. So obviously we're only seeing the trappers, which are the scouts, but giving them scale is very, very nice indeed, meaning they can use that stealthy approach and use it to actually climb, which would be, yeah, is pretty darn good. And then goodness gracious me, while one or more Ewok units that are not wounded are within range 3, characters in this unit cannot be targeted with ranged attacks. So that's pretty good. Again, it means that these guys are protected. They are 8-2, so they're not bad, but let's take a look then. So we've got a first for Shatterpoint in that we have a double-sided stance card. So against my programming, so this is going to be the one that gives these guys scale. 5, no ranged attack, and then 5/5. Oblivious. You know, their defenses are not particularly good. The bash is not particularly good either. Not really dishing out much, if any, real damage there whatsoever. Just remember, these guys are on the same base, so they're not 2 separate models. So they are a secondary unit that is on a single base, which is, you know, normally the case, but it's not 2 separate models like the one in the loot pack. So yeah, not really much going on there, but on 3 successes, sorry, he can use that brilliant operation for free. So Angry Trilling, you know, we'd expect R2 to be slightly better. Again, no ranged attack, 6/5 in combat. Double shove on 2 is pretty darn good. 5 damage, 6 with expertise. Obstinance, there's a lot of movement in there as well, so getting back on a point is really nice. I feel like this is kind of going to be your primary one. And maybe if you need to do something with these guys, or maybe you start with this and then they can use their scale. So if you're in a situation where you've got your trappers and you want them to be able to climb with that initial dash, then you could start here so that you give them the scale so that they can use it, and then when it's their turn you can then switch them over. So some options there as well. Cool. Okay, guys, overall, I'm really excited about getting these guys on the battlefield and playing some games with them. I haven't yet played a single game with any Ewoks, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to put these models together, and then I'll come back, I'll show you the models, I'll give you my thoughts on the cards, the models, how easy they were to put together, and then I may even end up doing my live stream tonight, which will be me painting up one of these models. I'm yet to decide, but let's jump back over to the camera and we'll take it from there. I'd like to take a minute to thank the brand new sponsor of the channel, Loyalist Games. Loyalist are a great local gaming store in West Yorkshire. They stock all of your favourite MCP and Shatterpoint products, plus a huge range of other gaming systems. They also have an awesome gaming space where weekly events are held. We've already been running our MCP League that's coming into its 4th season. We've hosted a number of MCP events, and we'll be doing so for Shatterpoint as well. So hopefully we can see you guys there at some of the events in the future. There'll be a link down in the description below, and if you're looking for a place to get all of your hobbying purchases at a great price, then look no further than Loyalist Games. Okay guys, so we are back. That was probably about 20 minutes or so for me, but obviously instantaneously for you guys. But we do have all of our models, or I should say all but one unit built up. Just for the purposes of time, I did decide to only build up one of the trapper guys, one of the scouts guys. The reason being is they're exactly the same. There is no alternative sculpt model or alternative options for this. There's no arm options or anything like that. So I thought, well, what's the point in building 2 up? I will obviously be building the second one up. But I mean, the build, first of all, let's talk about the build and how easy it was. I saw a few people talk about how these were, you know, back to like the B1 battle droids. And I mean, I didn't think the B1s were particularly difficult. We do have a couple of connecting points. If I just put my hand behind there, just so we don't get that. So we do have a couple of little connecting points here that you do need to be a little bit more careful with. There's one just at the back here as well. So, I mean, you've got to kind of hold them in place for a little bit, but I use, I mean, for 99% of my model building, with the exception of some metals and maybe some resin stuff that I don't use it for, you know, this stuff is absolutely amazing. A little layer on each of the contact points. Leave them for 15-20 seconds just to start melting that plastic, and then hold them in place for 15-20 seconds again by both sides, putting a little bit of pressure on, and they're absolutely fine. So I didn't have any problems. As I say, I have seen on Facebook and other such things that some people had been, but that would be my advice, is just, you know, put a little bit on each of the contact points. Like, you know, we've got this one here, for example. Put a little bit on each of the contact points. Let it melt ever so slightly, because that's essentially what it's doing. It is melting the plastic, and then just push them together, hold them in place for, you know, 15-20 seconds, and they should be absolutely fine. Let's talk about the actual, you know, this particular model itself. Like, I don't mind the posing of the Ewoks. The guy in the middle, I think he's fine. He's looking a little bit too downwards for my liking. I'll probably try and change that a little bit. He's only just been glued, so I can probably pop him off quite easily. Maybe build it up at the bottom with a little bit of green stuff, just to try and have him sort of looking forward. This guy on this side here, yeah, absolutely fine. Nice dynamic pose, and they're fine. But what is this guy doing here? What on earth? Like, he just looks daft. Like, I really don't like either the pose or where he is in relation to the rest of the models. And I've looked at first, I was like, okay, have I done this wrong? Have I done something wrong here? And it turns out I don't think I have. I think that's how he's supposed to be. Actually, do you know what? I'm just looking at this now, and I think I actually do have this wrong, guys. So let me just pull him off. No, let me just take him off here really quickly. And is there another part there that he's supposed to be in? And then that's for something else? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. That seems to be the only place that he fits, is up there. But when I then look against the reference material, it looks like he's sort of further down here, and that he should be somewhere. No, you see, that doesn't work either. So yeah, who knows? I'll take a look at that, and I'll post pictures if as and when. But you've literally got a hole there, and there is like a little notch on the back of his thing. But either way, I just think he's a daft pose. Really don't like the pose on that third model there. Let's take a look at Wicket. He's much smaller than the other models, and I get that Wicket is smaller, but he feels a little bit too small. Again, smaller than what the promotional artwork, or not even artwork, but the promotional models showed us. So I wonder if something was done, if that was edited anyway, but he is definitely smaller than what he is. But he's a cool little model. You know, there's not much detail on these really for 28mm models, but they are much smaller. But that's fine. I mean, they're little meth Care Bears with spears, so you know, not much there. And then we've obviously got the leader. I think he looks pretty darn good. He's a little bit of a bigger character. He's low grey. Did forget his name there, but I pulled it out of the bag. So he's a little bit of a bigger character anyway. But I think he looks okay. I think he looks fine. Again, the bases, like, we're on Endor. Why have we got these? So, I mean, I use this stuff for mine anyway. So I use Vallejo thick mud, and then I've got some I've got a little mix from Geek Gaming Scenics that I use that I'll be putting on the bases as well, so they will have that sort of forest floor feel. And then lastly is we do have C3PO and R2D2. Again, very, very simple and easy to put together models. I have to say, guys, that after building Games Workshop models sort of exclusively for the past month or so, let's say, and painting them, and the amount of mold lines that are on there and the complexity that are on there, like, I built all these. It took a little bit of scraping to get, not even necessarily mold lines, but more like where the injection points are, sort of holding them onto the plastic sprues. They are an absolute dream. It's going to pain me to go back and paint some other stuff now and build a couple of boxes of Corsairs that I've got, because yeah, they are in a different league when it comes to where the mold lines are. And I just, you know, I had this conversation with somebody the other day on Facebook. I was like, GW don't necessarily make the best models anymore. You know, look at the quality of some of these. They are very, very good indeed. So guys, overall thoughts on the pack. I think it's a really interesting addition to Star Wars Shatterpoint. I like that you get the option of 2 secondaries. That's always really nice to give you a little bit of extra flexibility. The price is more expensive. I paid, well, the price in the gaming store was $48.99. So I think sort of, let's say, $10 or $15 more expensive for the boxes, which I get because you are getting one extra character in here, right? Let's say that this is our extra character. However, the amount of plastic on this is very, very tiny. So I think they've been a little bit sneaky, and I think the price point is probably a little bit too high. And I get it's not just the plastic, there's the cards and everything else in there, but you know, they put 93 copies of each card in there. But so I think the price point is a little bit high. Maybe $5 or $7 more would have been better, but you know, they've got to keep that price per model up, so that's obviously why they do it. I'm excited to get them on the table. I'm excited to get them painted up. I think they've got some interesting rules within there. Be cool to see how they work alongside the other Ewok pack, but then also standalone as well. Maybe alongside, you know, using something like this model as like the connector between this and Luke's pack, for example. So that'll be interesting to see. But yeah, overall, guys, nice addition to the game. The models were a bliss to make, absolutely no problems. I think the rules look pretty darn good. So yeah, overall, it's a bit of a thumbs up from me. Guys, we're going to leave it there. I want to give a big shout out to all of our Patreon members. Huge thank you to all you guys for supporting us. And if you do want to support us on Patreon, you can do so from as little as £1 a month. You'll find a link down in the description below. I also want to give another big shout out to Neil and the rest of the team at Loyalist Games, the sponsor of the channel. You'll find an offer down in the description below as well, where you'll get a £5 voucher when you spend £50 in the store on your first order. Guys, but if you don't want to support us on Patreon to help support the channel, there's many other ways you can do it. So liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting, all of those sorts of things really do help with the channel, the algorithm as it's called apparently. So if you can do any of those things, it would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you check out our Discord. There's going to be an announcement going up this weekend about our next Shatterpoint event. So we are going to be running a Shatterpoint event for the month of March. So make sure you check that out. We're also going to be doing a Star Wars special at the beginning of May. No question, you know, you don't really need to know why that will be, so make sure you keep an eye out for the announcements on that one as well. And as always, guys, it leaves me with just enough time to say stay well, keep safe, and until next time, may the Force be with you.